So Joe Biden gave a commencement speech that sounded more like a "you coloreds better vote for me" campaign speech at the 2023 graduation ceremony for Howard University, where he said such beautiful unifying words like this.
Unity over disunion, progress over retreat. Stand up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did my inaugural address, to single out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy. And I'm not saying this because I'm at a black HBCU. I say it wherever I go.
The most dangerous terrorist to our homeland is white supremacy? But aren't you the same guy who said this not too long ago?
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
But here's the kicker. After saying that the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy, he said this.
Because of your power, we took the most significant law on gun violence. We passed it, most significant law in 30 years. But we will not give up. I got the assault weapons ban passed 30 years ago, and we're going to pass it again. We must pass it. There's more to do on police reform and public safety.
You know, I gotta say, standing in front of what is essentially an all-black graduating class and saying that the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy, while also promising to reinstate the same law that was part of the infamous '94 crime bill that many black people feel is responsible for extending tough on crime policies that overly criminalize black Americans, is some wild shit.
Harris wasn't inaccurate in her criticism of Biden, who has a checkered history on racial justice, despite painting himself as a staunch civil rights advocate over the years. Perhaps one of the most criticized moments in Biden's past is his involvement in the creation of the notorious 1994 crime bill. People forget that the informal name for the bill was Biden's crime law. The legislation is widely criticized for being responsible for making the effects of mass incarceration in the US exponentially worse.
As a black 2A advocate who graduated from a historically black law school, what makes you think I want to give up my AR-15 when you're telling me that the most dangerous terrorist to our homeland is white supremacy? Biden, you were literally friends with white supremacists.
Also admits to having been civil with Democratic colleagues who were openly racist, like James Eastland, who had a long history of racist remarks, including that black Americans belonged to an inferior race, as well as the segregationist Herman Talmadge, who vigorously opposed school integration.
Governor, this means in effect that your state would set up a private school system.
We intend to maintain separate schools in Georgia, one way or another, come what may.
Biden also developed a decades-long friendship with segregationist Strom Thurmond, who he worked with attempting to pass the Biden-Thurmond Violent Crime Control Act in 1991. Biden also spoke at his funeral.
We became good friends. I'm not sure exactly why or how it happened, Nancy, but you know we did.
If white supremacy is such a problem, why would I vote for any law that would make it harder for me to defend myself against these white supremacists that you claim are so dangerous? If I'm attacked by white supremacists, is Joe Biden gonna waddle out of the White House to come and save me? Is Joe Biden gonna let me borrow some of his Secret Service detail to protect me? No, he's not. He's gonna try to pass laws that take the guns away from the people who use them to defend themselves, while he continues to be protected by those exact same type of guns 24/7 for the rest of his life. A white supremacist walked into a black church and killed 9 people with a handgun in Charleston, South Carolina. An assault weapon ban wouldn't have saved those black people from that white supremacist. Not even the government could have saved them. Hell, the government is the one who dropped the ball and didn't process the background check correctly enough that they would have prevented him from even buying the gun in the first place. You don't empower people by making them weaker and more dependent on a government who doesn't even have a legal obligation to keep you safe. I just find it ironic that the very genesis of gun control was rooted in black racism, and the president, who was friends with white supremacists, is now using the threat of white supremacy to justify his push for a gun control law that was part of a bill that many black people feel was responsible for the disproportionate incarceration of black men. And to all the black people who support an assault weapon ban, if the ban passes, where do you think they're going to enforce these laws the most? The answer to that question is easy. Just look at who was disproportionately incarcerated during the last assault weapon ban, which was part of the '94 crime bill that you say was disproportionately incarcerating black men. The stranglehold that the Democrat Party and their agenda has over the black community borders on insanity at times. What the hell does an assault weapon ban have to do with graduating from college? How about you tell me how I'm going to pay off these student loans? How about you tell me how to navigate the never-changing job market that I'm about to be thrown into? No. Instead, Joe Biden spends 26 minutes placating the black fourth-wave feminism and the boogeyman of white supremacy and an assault weapon ban, essentially reducing us down to nothing more than a voting base to exploit and manipulate for his own good, while failing to acknowledge that the vast majority of gun violence in this country comes from gang violence from inner cities, which are led by Democrats. The reason why Joe Biden won't stop pushing for the assault weapon ban is because it's the perfect gun control law to manipulate people into giving up all of their gun rights, not just their right to own an AR-15. You see, machine guns are essentially banned already. An AR-15 looks similar to a machine gun, but it's actually a semi-automatic. So they use the looks of the AR-15 while calling it an assault weapon to give you the impression that the AR-15 is a machine gun that fell through the crack of the machine gun ban. So people are thinking they're banning a machine gun when they're actually banning a semi-automatic gun. Once that happens, the gun control lobby now has the precedent that it needs to ban handguns, because handguns are also semi-automatic. That's why they keep pushing an assault weapon ban, even though AR-15s, which are not assault weapons, are used in less than half of mass shootings, if that. Guns aren't political. That's why I need your help getting this message to spread on YouTube by clicking the thumbs up button, leaving a comment to let me know what you think of the video, then subscribing to the channel. But most importantly, click that bell symbol. For products featured in this video, click the links in the description.